Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is March 31st, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery here, and you can clearly see that March is not going out like a lamb. Look at this frontal system coming towards our coastline. A lot of cold air aloft with this system, thunderstorm potential, big mountain snows incoming, some gusty winds for the higher terrain, and we'll take a look at the extended forecast as always. First, the Tempest weather system here. This is what it looks like. It's all solar powered, all inclusive here. It installs quite nicely. It's all wireless. You can see it's got UV index, solar radiation, sonic anemometer here. It's got a haptic rain gauge. It does lightning detection. And again, it's solar powered. It's all wireless, no batteries that you have to put in there. And it's very accurate. It's lining up quite well with my professional weather station equipment here at my home. So a very affordable option here if you are looking for a home weather system. And yeah, so I'll put that code down in the description below. It's West Coast Weather. You get 10% off. The app is really great. It stores all your data for free. 3-second updates, current conditions. You can zoom in on them and whatnot. It stores everything. It'll tell you when it starts raining, when lightning strikes occur. It'll give you up-to-date information on that immediately. And it's also a smart integration system there as well. It talks with other weather models to give you a forecast for your exact location, and it works with other systems as well. So if you need some calibration, if something's out of whack with the station, your neighbor's station, for example, the temperature can calibrate that and bring it back down to reality. So anyway, back to the weather here. Pacific Northwest, there's Seattle. Look at 53 yesterday, a little bit below average, although we did have some sunshine. It wasn't too bad out there. No precipitation, nowhere near those record highs set back in the 90s and 80s there, and we're going to cool down here a bit for the next few days before potentially warming up here as we go towards the end of next week. More on that here in a moment, but you can see the current hazards. Look at all these winter storm warnings across the area, including the Oregon coast, from the southwest Washington, Olympic Mountains with winter weather advisories, and you can see these advisories and warnings extend on in through Idaho and Montana. The blues are actually winter storm watches here, and you've got some high wind watches going on as well. This is the mountain snow for the Cascades. Some big snows incoming, up to 2 feet possible. Olympics above 25, Cascades above 2,500 feet. Rapidly changing road conditions. Heads up if you start traveling as you go through the afternoon, evening. That's when that snow is going to start falling here, and it's really going to get going as we go through Friday night into Saturday night as well. So this is looking at Oregon. Look at some of these totals. Government Camp, Willamette Pass, they're up to 3 feet of snow. Some decent amounts across the coastal range, so keep your heads up out there as well. This is looking for National Weather Service Medford, Oregon there as well. Some big gusts for the higher terrain out there, so watch out for those winter driving conditions. This is some of the snowfall totals that can be expected. Look at Crater Lake. 2.5 feet maybe. Siskiyou Summit on I-5, 4 to 6 inches. Watch out, winter driving conditions. And even down towards the lower elevations, you could get some snowfall here, although you can see definitely favored on the higher terrain. This is looking in the National Weather Service Spokane, just talking about that mountain snow, Friday night through Sunday. Lookout Pass, it's on into the Idaho Panhandle, Saturday through Sunday. And valley showers, could be some brief accumulations down to some of the lower elevations as well. This is on in through the Idaho Panhandle and Montana here, and you can see above 4,000 feet is going to be favored here for the bigger accumulations, which is always the case there, but just, a heads up there for the winter driving conditions incoming. This is last night's European one. If I put this into motion, look as we go on to Saturday afternoon for some thunderstorm potential across the Pacific Northwest here. And it's going to kind of be hit or miss. There's going to be a lot of shower activity moving in. Right now, it looks like it's favoring kind of southwest BC, Washington, maybe northern portions of Oregon here. And we're going to do that again as we go on in through Sunday. But you can kind of see the hit and miss nature of this as we go through the day Sunday as well. And maybe still some instability around as we go on into Monday also here. We'll check that out over the next couple of days as well. This is looking at the HER 3KM high resolution model here. And this is composite reflectivity. Every 6 hours, this run goes out 48 hours. Every single hour this model runs usually goes out 18 hours. So if you check the 0Z, the 06, the 12Z, or the 18Z, you're going to get 48 hours of data here on the high-resolution rapid refresh. So here goes that frontal system tonight, and the big mountain snows are really going to come in through, later afternoon and through the evening hours and on in through tonight. And then the cold air really gets ushered in here with the shower activity that just seems to be continuous as we go on into the afternoon Saturday with some thunderstorm potential with some of these areas of heavier precipitation. And as we go on through Saturday night, just the continuation of these showers going on. And Sunday, we're going to do it again with thunderstorm potential for some of the lower elevations as well. Big mountain snows incoming here, folks. This is the HER 3KM. This is the same map there, so let's not play that. This is the European last night's run, and you can clearly see that frontal system coming in, bringing the heavy mountain snows as we go through tonight. That'll eventually spread off to eastern portions, the Blue Mountains, northeast Washington, Idaho Panhandle, higher terrain, eventually pivot on in through Montana, western Wyoming, and all the higher terrain across Idaho as well. And you can see that precipitation continuing on. This is Sunday afternoon shown here, and you can see the mountain snow still ongoing as that cold air moves into the Pacific Northwest. Classic snowmaker with a lot of cold air just kind of picking up some moisture and slamming into the higher terrain. That's why the amounts are going to be so heavy as we go through this weekend here and going on into Monday. Shower activity starting to wane a bit, but then you can see maybe another system clipping us as we go on into the early next week before we potentially warm up after that. More on that here in a moment. This is looking at 500 millibars, somewhere up towards 18,000 feet. Here's Washington. There's Alaska there. Pacific Ocean is here. Put it into motion, you see that cold air really come roaring into the Pacific Northwest here, and then the trough is just open over us by the time you get to Sunday across the region there, and then maybe we'll start to build some ridging off the coastline here. Taking a look at the snow total 10-to-1 ratio here. Just going to speed ahead through here, and you can see it piling up by the time we get into tonight here, and then eventually down through Oregon, Blue Mountains. Again, the higher terrain, going to get some huge amounts here. Going to be measured in feet here across some of the higher terrain of the Cascades. It's showing some snowfall trying to mix down to lower elevations, but as you know, it's extremely difficult to get significant accumulations to the lower elevations here. But we could see some flakes flying here on some of the higher hills and some of the heavier showers. You're going to get that small hail and some snow pellets mixed in there as well. This is looking at more of an extended forecast look here. So this is last night's European run, and you can see that trough just open up over the Pacific Northwest here. A little bit of reinforcement there as we go through early next week, and then the ridging tries to build here. So you can kind of see that picking up, and we'll look at the temperatures here in a second, but that's a good sign here if you like some warmer weather. This is looking at 500 millibars on the UW model. You see that trough setting up shop here, and then you see that ridging start to try to get going here as we go through the extended, as this trough is open over the Gulf of Alaska here. It can bring some ridging downstream for us here across Pacific Northwest. This would be on in through later next week. So we'll be watching that over the next few days. This is looking at Portland International Airport here. This is the European 2-meter temperature, and you can see the cool temperatures here as we go through early to midweek coming up, and then the potential warm up here as we go through Friday, Saturday, Sunday maybe coming up. You can see some of the European ensemble runs showing some warmer temperatures. And again, you got to take it with a grain of salt here. It's just a signal at this point. Confidence is not that high just yet, but it is increasing here. So each one of these individual runs is an ensemble member, and we tweak those initial conditions from what we believe the initial conditions to be. So it kind of gives us a more accurate representation. When you look at all 50, you can kind of get increasing confidence when you see a lot of these warmer temperatures starting to show up there. So that's why the confidence is starting to increase yet, but it is still just a signal right now. We don't know the details of this warm up potentially at the end of next week coming up here. This is Seattle-Tacoma. This is the exact same map I just showed you for Portland, and it shows that same signal coming up here. I mean, look at it. The control even has up towards 70 degrees as we go on in through next Monday or so, and has some 60s for next weekend. So we'll see how that goes. And if you're wondering what that means, this C00, that's the control run there. It's a lower resolution one versus the deterministic, but it is still based on the initial conditions. And so that runs out at a lower resolution model, lower resolution there. And then we run all these individual members, like I mentioned a second ago here, and we tweak those initial conditions. And so it kind of gives us, it gives us a better idea of what's to come here. And it can kind of show us if there is small errors in our initial conditions here that we can expect maybe some cooler temperatures, maybe some troughing will still be around, for example. So we'll watch this and see how this trends over the next couple of days. This is 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, and look at this. There's the above average signal anywhere from the Bay Area up through the Pacific Northwest here. So kind of unusual sight there after this chilly winter/spring we've been having. This goes through April 13th. We'll see how this trends. This is 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook issued yesterday through April 13th. And again, kind of the West Coast here finally getting a break from some of this precipitation, at least California anyway. We haven't actually been above average precipitation for March. For a Seattle example, we're over 1.5 inches below the average precipitation amounts here. So, hopefully that doesn't, penalize us once we start moving into fire season here for the summertime. But anyway, yeah, here comes that frontal system, cold air, thunderstorms, big mountain snows. Heads up for the winter driving conditions coming up here. Potential for a warm up as we go through the end of next week as well. So always something to look forward to in the extended forecast. We'll see how that trends over the next couple of days. But yeah, if you want to buy that weather station, make sure the West Coast weather is in the checkout code, gets you 10% off there, and it throws the channel a couple bucks there as well. So yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow. We'll check out and see how things trend, and we'll watch some of these showers roll in. I may go out and about and try to catch a lightning strike or two tomorrow as well. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and I hope you guys are having a good day.